Hey everyone, I'm Michael Bruce, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories of top realtors and how they got there so we can help more realtors become great. So let's jump in today with Mark Ditkof. Mark, welcome.
Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited.
I am too. We had a little bit of a conversation. People that have followed some of the videos know I love to talk about realtor stuff because we're going to get into the meat of all of that with you. So, a couple of little things about Mark I think fascinating. First, he was raised in Wisconsin, which is kind of interesting. He's in Southern Colorado right now. He'll tell you about that. But he was a high school math teacher. I think you said 3 years?
So I taught for 7 years total, but I did 3 years before I got my real estate license because I did both
Gotcha.
for four.
Gosh, so 7 years high school. Well, tell us about high school math teacher, okay? So obviously the math we know can play in beautifully to everything you're doing in real estate, so much math and dealing with all of that and confidence you probably bring to your customers. But tell us about being a teacher.
Yeah, I mean, obviously an underserved group of people where, underpaid, overworked, it's a lot like, teachers, nurses, they all get kind of bundled together. Super rewarding, right? But they also lean on you a lot to do extra because it's all for the kids. And there's a lot of teacher burnout in that way. But I loved teaching. Being in the classroom was one of my absolute favorite stuff, interacting with the kids. I was lucky because I taught mostly upperclassmen because I had a finance course that we actually developed. So it was personal finance, teaching them applicable things in the real world. And so I loved it. I still go back and guest speak at times, but obviously real estate is a better opportunity for my family.
Oh, really interesting. I love the finance side. Like, did you teach kids about a checkbook?
Yeah. They always joke about like, oh, we don't know how to balance checkbooks. No, we had a whole banking section that involved reconciling checkbooks, and we did taxes at the time. They had the 1040EZ. And so all of my students would leave there knowing how to file their taxes using the 1040EZ. We taught homeownership and budgeting and loans and credit cards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I think two of my kids are in their 30s and I don't think they've ever seen a checkbook. And I had something with a young guy in the office one day, and I was like, "Can I write you a check?" Check, it was like insane, right? This is like a little bit earlier, Venmo and Zelle and so forth. But even then, they were like, "No, we don't deal with checkbooks." So awesome, teaching them how to balance a checkbook really gives you that idea on really, running your own, right, running your own finances for your house.
Yeah, they walked away with something applicable. And I even run into students all the time and they still say like, oh, that class, that one actually was worthwhile. So it's always rewarding that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I know you got them involved in real estate kind of part-time-ish to get started. And I think you were telling me that, while you were teaching, you were actually full-time real estate. So, talk about, obviously you have incredible energy to pull something like that off, but tell us about those first early years, how you got going.
Yeah, I got into real estate because my wife and I were expecting our first child, and our goal was for her to be a stay-at-home mom. But the teaching salary didn't pay enough to to allow us to live the lifestyle that we wanted to live. And so her aunt was a real estate agent, and Mark, you should do this. And I ran the numbers. I just had to sell about 4 houses a year to get the money we needed to do what I wanted to do. First year, we ended up selling a few more than 4 houses, worked our way up. We were selling 30 to 40 houses a year by the end of it. And I mean, I put my son to bed on a Sunday night and didn't see him again until Thursday night at one point, just because of all the work. And I said, why am I doing all this work for my family and I'm not even a part of it? And so my wife and I had that conversation and said, it's time to drop the teaching and really just dive into this and do it.
Oh, fabulous. Well, so tell us about that. You were so deep into it, interestingly, like when you stopped teaching, I know, like you said, for a couple of years, you were full-time real estate. So it had to be just a relief to stop teaching. But what picked up then? Were there some different things you did on the real estate side once you really went full-time?
Do you know what's funny? So I gave my notice for teaching in January of 2020. And we all know what happened in March of 2020. The whole world shut down. And so we had those conversations too, because everybody thought the real estate market was going to crash during COVID. And I said, do we need to go back to teaching? What do we do? And we looked at each other and said, look, if I'm going to do this really as our sole income, I got to be able to do this through all the thick and thin. And so we just ventured forth. And luckily, anybody that was in real estate during the COVID era, we all did more business and made more money than we probably deserved. And it was a really easy transition. I mean, I was at things out of my control. And I don't say that I was the best and I was successful because of me only, right? I mean, the market itself was obviously very helpful through that time and really helped with our family.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And certainly Colorado, being in New York, as I was telling you, right? Very different, right? You're in the
Hmm.
city, right? Those people were, hundreds of thousands leaving the city, to your point, right? For the suburbs, for places that they've dreamt of, like Colorado, right? Like, now's the time. If we're going to do it, let's do it. So, that really paid off, in your market.
Yeah, our market absolutely boomed during the COVID era. And again, I didn't do anything to make that happen, but we were positioned well to take advantage of the situation.
Right. So talk a little bit about then, you get into 21, 22, things are calming down. 20, it was probably 2 years, right? Now that's calmed down. You're building the business. Tell us some of the things that you did to kind of get to that next level.
Yeah, so it got to the point in 2021. I did, I don't know, 50 something deals, won salesperson of the year for the area, got a lot of accolades, which was always fun to get accolades, right? Got to the point though, I was selling so many houses and working so much again. 2022, we sold 72 houses as a solo agent. And you can't work 70, 80 hours a week all the time. And I got to the point where we were doing showing assistants. I was paying other newer agents in the office to do basically all my showings because I had to be in 6 places at once. And again, that was the next leverage point where I said, it's time to actually create a team to bring us to the next level. So in 2023, we opened up the Onyx group. And now at this point, we're a team of 4 agents, 2 admin, and looking to literally today, we were having conversations about further expansion. So it's just moving along.
Right. Well, absolutely fantastic. Great story. Talk about scaling. What have you been doing? Stay with even just, post pandemic, these last couple of years. Tell us like what you're doing from the marketing side. How are you staying in touch with your database, with your customers, generating new leads? What's working for you?
Yeah, we do a lot of social media. I think in our market, we're probably the top team in regards to our social media presence. And that doesn't mean we don't even have the most followers or the most business or anything like that. But I mean, we run into people all the time that they'll walk up to a member on our team and say, "Hey, I know you. You're on the Onyx group." And they're like, "Yeah, I am," because we do the videos and the posts and all that. We do a really good job with social media and it's fun. I mean, for me, it's fun. My team doesn't always find it as fun as I do, but just recording videos, being authentic and going out there and earning the business and creating relationships virtually is really, in my opinion, the new age of real estate. And we get people reaching out for business all the time that we never would have touched if not for the opportunity that social media has given us.
Really interesting. Wow. So what other channels are you using combined with? Is it really mainly social, staying in touch with them?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. But really, I mean, we're, in my opinion, too good at keeping in contact with our sphere. We utilize Command, which is the Keller Williams database system, and they have smart plans, which is the auto touches and all that. But then we throw events throughout the year. We keep in touch with people. We follow up. We try and do our best to make sure that, if somebody says, call me in 2 weeks, we call them in 2 weeks, right? I mean, do what you say you're going to do. And we just have a really strong leverage of accountability on our team. And so we run our numbers. We know how many conversations we need to have every single day. We know exactly how those conversations need to go to get them to the next level. And we hold each other accountable to do that.
Beautiful. Great. So talk about some niches like events and stuff. Like, are there things that, some niches that you found in your area that have really worked for you? Or is it just more broad communication?
I've got one event that I'm super proud of. My wife and I thought of it a few years ago, and we've done it 3 times now, and it's been a really good hit every single time. And a couple of years ago, so the genesis of it was New Year's Eve, and we had a very young kid. My kids are 6 and 8 now, so they were 2 and 5 or something like that. And it got to the point where it was like 9 o'clock at night, and we're like, we are so tired, and we just want to go to bed. But the kids were old enough; they wanted to stay up till New Year's, so we're in Colorado, which is mountain time, which is 2 hours behind Eastern time zone, right? And so we just put the news on at 10 o'clock showing the New York ball drop. And we said, Happy New Year, and put the kids to bed. And I said, we're not the only people that would want to celebrate New Year's at 10 p.m. and then like go to bed. And so for 3 years now, we've thrown a New Year's Eve East Coast style New Year's party. And we'll have between 60 and 100 people show up, and we host it at our house. And we had a bartender, and we cater it, and we do the whole gamut for anybody. And we throw a pretty big party at our house, and we celebrate at 10 o'clock. And at 10:05, it's like, great, everybody go home now or go somewhere else because the party's over. And it's a really good touch point. It's just a lot of fun.
And that's with kids?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's totally family friendly.
Kids.
We hired babysitters to run the kids section so that the parents could kind of hang out on their own. And yeah, it's 100% family friendly.
I mean, I've heard a lot of events from a lot of people. Had a woman the other day She's like a big, and never expected this from her, big NCAA football. She said, the one event I do every football day, college football, I host college football day at my house. And again, and that's it. That's her, the window, right? That's her niche. She loves that. Ice cream truck guy brings them to the open houses. I've never heard this. This is a great one. And I can relate to it, just trying to stay awake. And I'm East Coast isn't
Yeah.
easy. So having the kids driving you crazy and wanting to get to bed by 10 because, they're going to be up so early. What a fabulous idea.
I
Absolutely.
love it. And people talk about it all year round, and it's on people's calendars, and it's a really good time.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Anything else you see, like, anything going on with like either first time home buyers or seniors? Are there something going on in the market that you've had to, kind of shift a little bit and specialize in?
Yeah, we specialize in first time home buyers. I think a lot of people say that, but I actually feel like we really do. A big thing is I have a lot of former students that come our way because I was a teacher and they trusted me in the finance space. And so they come to me at this point. And we are good at knowing the ins and outs of the different programs. Colorado has a fantastic down payment assistance program that's through the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority. $1,000 down. That's all it is. $1,000, 620 credit score, and you can go buy a house, right? You just have to qualify for monthly payment, things like that. But to actually be able to pair people and first-time home buyers with the right programs has become a lot more important now than it was just a few years ago because of the rate situation. Not every down payment assistance program or first-time home buyer program has the same rates, has the same closing costs. And so somebody that's diligent and purposeful about not just saying, oh, I like this lender, so I don't care what programs they have, you're going to work with them, but really getting to know the buyer and pairing them with the right people based on their circumstances. That's something that I take a lot of pride in that we do.
Oh, I love that. That is, we happen to be working with someone on the East Coast, huge rental business. I mean, he's developed this huge business to begin with. I mean, a giant real estate office. Has like, I don't know, 40, 50% of like everything happening in the Philly market. And we're now working on that first time home buyer messaging and really, trying to turn those renters into buyers. So we've learned a lot. But yeah, it's the whole notion you don't need 20% down, which every home buyer thinks. Every young person, that's all they've heard, kind of their life is 20%. So the education on all of these different grants, loans, different states having different opportunities, huge for people to really understand that. So is that something you promote, or is it more like you're dealing with the first time home buyers, like you said, through your sphere, and that's how you're working with them, or you're actively kind of going after first time home buyers?
Yeah, we do a lot. Again, with the social media, we get first time home buyers that maybe don't know us, aren't in our sphere yet. So we do get a good number there. But really, it's just going to the people that already know you, like you, trust you, and they're ready to go, but they just don't understand. They're lacking the education, like you said. They don't know. They assume it's unaffordable because they've never bought a house. Likely their parents have never bought a house. Their parents never bought a house. And so they don't know what they don't know. And so just getting that information in front of them and saying, this is attainable to you, that's what our goal is.
Okay. Good. Love it. So all good. This is definitely a great run. I mean, talk about from the time you decided to do this, to where you are now, absolutely amazing. And I've heard a lot of those kind of stories in real estate. Like, I just needed a little bit more money to do this, and then I started part-time, and then the thing blew up. And every one of has been a positive story. So share some of the challenges, maybe one or two mistakes you made along the way that someone else can learn from and not follow that. Maybe something that you did that, you'd never do that again.
Yeah. And so the first one is if you're going to go make a team, do it the right way. Don't just go find the first person that says, yes, I'll be on your team. And it's always going to blow up that way, right? You get really excited to start and then it never works out. And going through a slower process and a more purposeful process to find somebody who's a good partner, a good buyer's agent, whatever route you decide to go, hiring an admin, right? Doing that leveraging where I don't need to be uploading and downloading documents all day long, right? That's somebody I can pay $15 an hour or whatever minimum wage is to do that kind of task, and really focusing your time on the dollar productive activities, but not only the dollar productive activities, but also the important activities in your life where I don't always just leverage things out so I can now go earn more money. I leverage things out so now I can go spend more time with my family, right? I don't miss soccer games. I don't miss basketball games. I don't miss school events. And it's because we have that opportunity of leverage. So that's my first thing, is that if you're looking to make a team or you're looking to go that first round of leverage, get rid of those dollar productive things that you could hire somebody else to do so that you can focus on the things that are important, whether that's more business or time investment. The other thing that I really struggled with was time. Again, when I was a solo agent selling more houses than I deserved, I was working probably 70 hours a week. Didn't see my son, didn't see my kids very often, didn't see my wife. And I had to hear the hard truth from my wife, where she said, yeah, you're working, but you're not part of our life at this point. And realizing that, why am I doing this? And it wasn't just to make money. It was to create a life with my family that I was now giving up, and having to reel back and realize, if I tell somebody I'm not available, they're not going to go find somebody else to show them the house. They're going to wait for my schedule, because we're a partnership, right? I'm not their, servant doing it at their beck and call, but people understand us as professionals if you treat yourself as a professional.
Really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Separating that, I've heard, different agents, different ways that they've organized their time. One who, opened houses for years, but wasn't with the family, decided, I am not working Sundays anymore, period. I don't care. And wound up taking care of that with another agent that can help and do a showing. Right. But it's that mindset of understanding, like you said, I have to make a change. Right. This is not why I did this. The money is incredibly exciting. And all, of course, the families benefit from it, but then you're not with the family. So I think it's a great advice, again, on the negative and the positive, in being able to look at yourself in the mirror more quickly. Why the heck am I doing this, to your point, right? And then reset to kind of meet those. So what are you looking at now for, 2025? Talk to me about some goals and how you're going to scale. What's the next step for you guys?
Yeah, so we just onboarded a fourth licensed agent, and so we're all growing together. We're making sure that I do a lot of the coaching and accountability, and they do a lot of the boots on the ground, and their businesses are growing. And my goal is for them to grow as big as and live their life by design. Really, we're got a few things in the work. We're looking to expand into other markets as well at this point, and kind of capture a little bit more market share. But this is going to be a year where we're not necessarily looking to add on a bunch more agents, but instead really just grow the business we've got, get our foundation strong, so that years from now, we can kind of go whatever direction feels right.
Love, excellent, excellent. Great, great thoughts there. So if you were to, you kind of gave some great tips already, but if you're going to give, experienced agents some advice, we got the advice on the family, watching your time, being in this for the right reason. And, definitely it's to be with your family. Give us the tip that, you think is really driven you and can really help some other agents.
Invest in properties. You're in the business. You get first shot at houses. If you're not actively trying to invest in real estate, you are giving up on opportunity that is just getting pushed right in front of you. You probably have access to hard money lenders. You probably have access in relationships to those people that are going to be willing to help you through the process, with property managers and contractors to renovate. If you're not investing in real estate, it's an total miss, and it's not too late. Even if you're looking to retire in the next year or two, go grab a couple of properties if you haven't already, because it's too easy in this industry to find good deals.
Fabulous. What a great ending. Great. It's funny. I haven't heard that as well as I asked for tips. That one hasn't come up. It's been way more related to buyer, seller, the business scaling, but on the personal side, really interesting. And I have a future son-in-law who happens to be an agent, only at 2-3 years doing this. So I'm going to make sure he watches your video.
Every house you go into, the first question is, should I just buy it? Right? I mean, why not? If they give you a price that they want, to say, cool, I'll take it. And then you move on to the next one.
Excellent. Excellent. Great advice. Mark, thank you so much. People watching, please follow Mark on social. I'm going to, because I'm really curious about watching his videos and seeing what he's doing that's help drive his success. Please follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and follow us. And Mark, again, thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Thanks for having me.